Hi, I'm Miffed, and this is a how-to guide on sculpting a bread miffy on Nomad Sculpt. Let's get started. So starting off with the basic sphere, you want to turn on the wireframe and then go up into the symmetry options and click show line so you can see the center of your sphere. From here, you want to turn your sphere either to the left or right and click on the trim tool and make sure you have line selected. It'll make it 2 times easier for when we have to trim the back half of the sphere. So hopefully everything is going well and you end up with a shape that looks like this. And I realize I don't really like the shape too much, so I'm going to go in and adjust it. And I highly recommend you do the same, that you look at it from every angle to make sure that it's to your liking. So from here we're going to be using the crease tool, and you want to make sure that you have symmetry selected on, which is below the settings bar for your brush. And then you want to draw lines that go diagonally across what's supposed to be our bread, so you get that puffed up quilted look. And the symmetry tool just makes it 2 times easier. That way, whatever you do on one side, it does it to the other, and you don't have to work twice as much. And as always, make sure you're looking at it from different angles. I had to make some adjustments myself, just make sure it looked good. Now you have to remesh the object, clicking the voxel option below. I typically do a 200 resolution at the minimum when doing this, and I click keep sharp edges and then I remesh it. So after you do that, you'll notice it looks a little pixelated. So going in with the smoothing tool, you're just going to go ahead and smooth out all those bumps and lumps, and it should be looking good after that. So onto my favorite part, it's the painting. But before we can do that, I recommend that you turn on post-process. It's up there in the corner. There's a bunch of settings that they have that you can adjust, like grain and filters and stuff like that. However, for the sake of this video, the presets that they have will work just fine. You can go ahead and adjust them afterwards. But yeah, now we're going to start painting. After you selected your painting tool, you want to use the color DEC BA1 as your base color, and you want to force paint it all on the entire object. Then clicking the add layer option up in the corner, you want to add a layer, and this is where we'll use our second color. So after adding another layer, you're going to go in with the color DFA B65, and you're going to use that to paint just the center of all the little quilted squares we made. So I don't know if this will be any help, but when I'm painting, I personally like to turn down the intensity of the brush. As you can see, it's very low, as well as the radius. I keep it like a little below halfway, but then here we go again. We're going to add another layer, and then we're going to use the color E18A4D to then paint the center of the orange we just applied. So you don't want to go as far out as we did earlier. You just want to get the very center of what you just painted. So to bring everything together, we're going to go in with the smudge tool and smudge out the edges so that way it looks much more cohesive and the colors kind of blend into each other. So getting down to business, we are finally going to be sculpting Miffy's face. So you want to use the tube tool and make sure that you have it in curve. It's up there in the corner, and then you're going to want to mind where the center line is on the object. When drawing Miffy's ear, you want to avoid going over that center line, and it did take me a couple tries, but after a while you'll get the hang of it. And then I made some adjustments, and yeah. After you're happy with your shape, you're going to remesh it at a 200 resolution. Make sure you keep the sharp edges, and then go back in with the smoothing tool to fix any pixelation. So this is the small detail that really brings it all in together, and you're going to be using the inflate tool to inflate the ends of the ear, and that'll make it look like the icing is pooled there after you just paint or drew something on there. I don't know, just really makes the whole icing thing work. But from here, you're gonna go up into the symmetry option, make sure that you have the method in world and mirror from left to right, and then you'll have a second ear done. Voila, now you have 2, you don't have to do it twice. So essentially we're going to be repeating those steps a couple times, because now we are drawing Miffy's face, and then afterwards we're going to be drawing her mouth, but essentially it is the same thing. You're going to use the tube tool, make sure that you have curve selected. And if you're anything like me, it's probably going to take you a couple tries, so go ahead and draw her face as many times as you need. Then we're going to voxel mesh the object again, and we're going to do it at a 200 resolution. Then go in back with the smoothing tool just to make sure everything is looking nice and smooth. After everything is up to your liking, we're going to go back in with the inflate tool. It is my favorite thing to do. I just love doing it so much, I can't even emphasize it, but make sure you go to those edges or those ends and inflate them, puff them up. So after everything looks pretty good, we're gonna go ahead and start drawing out Miffy's mouth. And I don't know if I should go ahead and repeat it over again, but we'll just briefly do it this time. So go in with the tube tool, make sure curve is on, Go ahead and draw out those X's to the best of your ability. It doesn't have to be perfect. The messier the better, because obviously you have to remember you want it to be recognizable, not necessarily an exact copy or like the best or perfect thing out there, because when you're baking something, it gets messy, it looks a little warped, a little lopsided, but that's okay. So I did edit a lot of the struggle I was experiencing when doing this, because I don't know, using the curve tool, it's very difficult. But yeah, give it your best shot, draw it on there. Once you're happy, thicken those BBs up, thin them out, validate them. We're going to then revoxel mesh them at a 200 resolution. And then what do we do after that? Oh yeah, so then you're gonna go back in, and I actually join them together. And then after that, you go in and you just smooth them out, and then it's looking good, they're looking decent. But you know what would make them 2 times better? The inflate tool. We're going to inflate those ends up again, because it'll look like icing is dripping, and that's what you want. If you can't tell, doing this voiceover is starting to stress me out a little bit. It's taking a little bit of a toll, but yeah, I'm a little bit more relaxed now though. A little stressed, but a little relaxed. So this is the one part that I'm gonna show next. I couldn't really figure out how to explain, and that was doing the eyes, because I kind of, every time I do them, I eyeball it. I just bring in a sphere, and then I adjust the size, pulling it from up, like the top, and then pulling it from the sides, and then making them smaller. I just thought it would be best if I just showed you, because there's no way of me being able to explain this, because I was changing it so much. She was just absolutely going through it. Like the entirety of this video, the last 5 minutes of this video are going to be me trying to adjust the eyes. But once you do have it, just know you have it, and she'll look good, and it'll just make it look 2 times better. You're gonna be like, oh my god, I recognize that. That's that little bunny. That's that little bunny, isn't it, Miffy? So don't be too hard on yourself if it's taking you a couple tries. Just pause the video, take as much time as you need. And a little pro tip, as after you're done and everything is up to your liking, so you don't have to do it twice, go ahead and click the symmetry option, and then make sure your method is on world and mirror from left to right, and there you go. So moving on to the best part, and my favorite part, it's painting the icing. We're going to be going over all the stuff we just made with the color 6C371A, and you just want to force paint everything. And look at it, it's starting to all come together. It looks like a little bread with some chocolate icing with a Miffy face on it, and you can absolutely stop here. It looks great, it looks amazing. But if you're anything like me, I like to go in back with a darker shade of brown. I don't have like an exact color match for you, but I just go and paint like the shadow areas. It's kind of like a placebo effect, because I don't think you can really even tell. It just all looks brown, but it looks like it's doing something to me. It feels like it's doing something for me, so I just go ahead and do that. But you can absolutely skip that. And here you go, the final Miffy. And then to give you a little quick 360, go ahead and turn on that turntable, and you can show the world your final product. And look how perfect she is, how perfect it is. And yeah, thank you so much. Hopefully this helps, and bye.